Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best.
Everybody sells and everybody buys. Welcome to lesson 10 about buying behaviors. In our prior lesson, we considered the selling behavioral styles. That's our habits and behaviors when we're trying to convince someone to agree with us and or take action, or quite frankly, the reverse when they're trying to persuade us. In this lesson, we're discussing buying behaviors, which is how we decide to purchase something, agree a statement is true, or adopt a belief. These decisions occur when we're searching for answers or we're presented with new information to consider. Like the selling behaviors you just learned, we've developed 4 buying behavioral styles. Everyone's buying behaviors include aspects of all 4 buying styles. However, 1 to 2 of them are typically most intense. By the way, the 4 steps on the screen don't apply really to our teaching, but it does indicate something you need to remember, that there's different stages of convincing someone to do something or agree with you. We also have a similar set of 4 questions for you to consider as you learn these 4 behavioral buying styles. We'll discuss your answers after you review the table. First, which behavior best describes you when you're buying? Second, which buying behavior is most comfortable for you when you're persuading someone? So it's the reverse. Third, what's your biggest weakness when you consider your most intense buying behavioral style? And what habit could you develop to overcome it? And fourth, what's your greatest strength when you consider your most intense buying behavioral style, and how could you make it even stronger? So you're always playing to your strengths in buying situations. As you go through this table, memorize the attributes of your most intense buying behavioral style. This is the best place to start. And this is our 3rd and final behavioral style taught in this course. So you can build upon what you learned about the DISC behavioral language and selling behavioral styles in the prior 2 lessons. Again, we're going to start in the upper right-hand corner with the dominant person. We're on the top row, which means they're task-oriented. We're in the right-hand column, means they're extroverted, typically. Now, their number 1 buying objective is results. So you want to think about that. If you're a high D, aren't you searching for results? You want to solve a problem, get results. But also, when the roles are reversed and you're working with someone and you're presenting a situation to them, and you know they're a high D, they're highly driven, high sense of urgency, you want to remember, I've got to speak to results for them to be interested. Now look at the 3 things you got to do so they trust you and they'll hear you out. Number 1, they want you to be direct and relatively quick. They like summary information. Usually don't like a lot of detail, although you can offer that as an option. And then you want to focus on the results and improved opportunities. Don't make the mistake of doing the 3 do not behave this way things, or any of them, quite frankly. You don't want to be too casual, too friendly, joke around. They're not looking to be your friend. They're there to solve problems. Now, if they say something and you don't agree with it, or they're just wrong, don't attack them personally, but just question them respectfully. Oh, that's interesting. Why do you think that's true? Or where did you get that information? And number 3, don't waste their time. They're always in a hurry. They're always overcommitted. They want to drive things. Now let's drop down on the right-hand side to the I, the influencer. They are still typically extroverted, but now they're people-oriented because they're on the bottom row. What their buying objective is the experience. So unlike the D, let them talk. Be friendly. Don't be rushed. They like big name references or highlight and benefits, or if you say, well, I did this with another client, this is what happened. I did this with 3 other clients, this is what happens. And then when you're working with them, you do need to set clear steps and deadlines, get them to agree to it, and you need to follow up often. okay? They get distracted with other things. Do not talk down to them. They don't want to be talked to in a condescending manner. Don't give them too information. Remember, they want to talk, not you. And you don't want to allow too much non-work conversation. They can be very tempting to get you to drive into that area. Stay focused on work, be nice, be friendly, but you got to drive from start to finish in the conversation. Then we move across the bottom to the S, steadiness. Once again, we're with a people-oriented person, but now we move to the left column. So this person is typically more introverted. Their number one buying objective is security. They don't like risk. They don't want to make a mistake. They're very aware of the consequences of making a mistake. So to help them trust you, you're going to start kind of slow, be sincere, little personal connections, some talk. You're going to give them some facts, demonstrate proven value, and you want to get little agreements at a time. By the way, if you can show them something, let them try it, let them use it themselves, not watch you, that can be very helpful. Do not make the mistake of breaking a promise or miss a commitment. Don't rush them. You can get them to commit to a timetable, but usually you don't want to rush them. And you don't want to propose something that's an unnecessary risk or a guess. They don't like, well, I think it'll work out okay. Ooh, that sends chills down their spine. Okay? Don't want to do that. They want to run from that. So what you want to do is proof and move at a speed that they're going to be comfortable with. All right, now we're going to wrap up these key buying behaviors with the C, the compliant, in the upper left-hand corner. So these are task-oriented people. We're back on the top row, but we're still on the left. They tend to be more reserved or introverted. Their buying objective is information. Why is that? Well, as you recall, these are the analyticals. They want lots of data. They're detail-oriented. So to help them trust you, you give them the data, the facts, the case studies, the references. You show them a demo. You show how it works. You can, give them time to analyze, test, and plan. Not forever, okay? You don't want to give them time to have analysis paralysis and hold things up, but you do want to respect their need to confirm it's going to be okay, and there's no risk or very little risk. Do not make the mistakes that you might have made with the S. Notice they're similar, okay? You want to be casual, friendly. They don't care about becoming your friend. Don't give them any unnecessary risks or say, yeah, I think it'll work. They don't like that. And don't rush them. They think they're very smart because they are, and they want to do it once and do it right. In closing on this table, I want to mention it's valuable to understand how you and others make buying decisions. Sincerely and ethically applying this knowledge can help you avoid making buying mistakes and better serve others when you're trying to help them understand why they should take action that's in their best interest. As we finish up, review your answers to the 4 questions we posed near the start of this lesson. Discuss these conclusions with your manager, a mentor, coach, or a friend. If you prefer, everyone who's participating in this lesson with you right now can talk through it. Confirm the following and act upon it. First, which behavior best describes you when you're buying? Second, which buying behavior is most comfortable for you when you're persuading someone? So in other words, which type of buying behavior can you persuade the easiest? Third, what's your biggest weakness when you consider your most intense buying behavioral style? And what habit could you develop to overcome it? And fourth, what's your greatest strength when you consider your most intense buying behavioral style? And how can you make it stronger? I mean, if you can make these decisions stronger, you're going to avoid making mistakes. It's going to help you out a lot. On your screen is a summary of the buying behaviors table we just discussed. For each behavioral style, it only lists the most common triggers for a positive or negative response. Please try to memorize what's on this screen by building upon what you've already learned about the DISC behavioral language and selling behavioral styles. If you want to expand your persuasion skills, then it's fine to return to the full table and try to memorize it. However, this course is not sales training teaching you how to sell. Our intent is to help you better understand how to provide service more effectively. In this lesson, we discussed the 4 intense buying behavioral styles, how everyone has 1 to 2 buying behaviors that are most intense, how to apply this information to further develop your positive buying habits and better serve others based on their buying behavioral style, what scares people the most in the buying process, and we encourage you to memorize key buying behaviors and apply what you've learned. This concludes our 10th lesson on solving, not selling. Please pass the exam below to complete the lesson and then proceed to lesson number 11. This is going to be a fun one. The next lesson discusses driving forces. This is the why behind your behaviors. Thank you.